Here we are. We are live, Mark. Good.
Anna, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Yeah, living the dream, Anna.
Isn't it just? What a day. Well, not a day, so what a week. And
what a time to be alive.
Isn't it just? Things are just seriously just not so blown up, but really kind of propelled rather quickly, haven't they?
They have. And I don't think we've seen the start of this yet. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, just to let people know. So, well, thank you for watching, whoever's joining us or watching later anyway. We're obviously still doing our Sunday chat, which is planned for this Sunday. We're going to be talking about things, but I felt compelled to let people know about the current situation with the strikes. Obviously, everybody is aware that the 19th, the protest is happening, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I heard now they actually moved the protest to a bigger location because now the amount of people has actually doubled. So it's like 10,000 people rather than 5,000 initially anticipated, isn't it? Meant to be appearing.
I don't think they're telling the truth. I think the figures are probably 10 times that. What they have done, Annie, you have to register to go. And, you know, even someone like myself is like, why do you need my details to let me go to a protest? I think what they're trying to do is because they have to block off certain roads. Obviously, what they want to do is get a fair indication of what roads they're going to block off. Yeah. So as a result of that, they want to know how many people are going. I'm getting indications of that being 50 to 100,000 people.
Yeah.
Not a few thousand people. They're trying to play this down because they're trying to make out that, you know, the farmers have got nothing to worry about. You know, as that idiot said the other day, you know, well, we'll just do to them what we did to the miners. You know, I mean, what a stupid comment to make.
I know, it got me angry. I know. People know. And also, I heard there is a second area of the protest as well, and a different, more than the main one apparently I've seen. So it's all kind of kicking off. But the main reason, obviously, I wanted to have a chat with you as a matter of priority. Obviously, you put a couple of videos out, and it's not yet been outed, is the fact that when the people deliberating about the farming and protest, whether they're going to stop food or not, it's now come to light they are actually planning to stop the food entering the supermarkets. Am I correct?
Yeah, so from what I understand, Anna, because I've got to be honest, bear in mind there's 100,000 farmers across the UK and loads of splinter groups and loads of, you know, unions and different things. So what's coming out from what I can understand at this point is they want to stop the supply of food to the supermarkets for a week, not to the public. So what they're saying to the farmers is, you know, sell from the gate, sell to small retailers, sell to some wholesalers. Don't stop the food supply it onto other people to keep the public on side, because that's obviously key to this, to keep the public fed. This isn't, you know, this argument is not with the public, and bear that in mind. This is a governmental issue, and this isn't, you know, and I've said this in several of my videos lately. Yes, it's united the farmers, the situation on the inheritance tax, and it's a terrible thing. I mean, one of the best examples I heard about this, Anna, is, you know, if you've got a plumber and a plumber has a van, and the plumber uses the van to get to work to earn a living, you don't tax him on the van if he hands the van on to his children. And that's no different, you know, with farming. That's exactly what this is. The land is an access for them to earn a living.
Yeah,
you know,
no, absolutely. It's a tool, isn't it? It's a tool.
It is, and that's all it is, you know. And people, you know, different people I've heard come out with some daft things about it, and you sort of think to yourself, you know, I have to say it, but there's some really unintelligent people about it.
Yeah.
So for me, this is, at this point, as far as I'm aware, that's the plan, is to get the strike underway on Sunday to start culling the food to the supermarkets, and on Tuesday to have the march in London. And obviously, you know, from a farming point of view, Anna, I'm going to be there. But what I will say on this is, more than anything, in my opinion, what we need is the public there.
Yeah.
This needs the public to give their support to the farmers over and above the farming community. You know, bear in mind, there's hundreds of thousands of them on their own, but we need the public support on this. And the public need to stand up and say, one, we want to see a change in farming. Two, we don't want it to see how you're doing it, you know, because the government are bulldozing all these plans through. And we both know, Anna, that this is just about Agenda 2030, nothing more. You know, this isn't going to make any difference if it's red or blue in power. this was going to happen anyway.
Yeah, anyway, yeah. We'll discuss the more obviously on Sunday. We're still chatting on Sunday. We'll talk about this in more detail. But the point was obviously because of the closure of them supplying the food to the supermarkets, say for the people like us really remote, we have no option as to just a supermarket. We have farms about, but nothing that will sell to us directly. So for people like ourselves, we're going to be seeing if say Tesco stop taking the or stop actually allowed to be taking some food, they will be seeing the obviously lack of food in the supermarkets. Again, I think I got the impression from the people that people thinking, well, if it's just going to be just that, it's going to be just vegetables kind of thing like that.
No.
But the unprepared people will panic and they will probably clear a lot of things. Whilst this strike thing goes public, because it's not really in the public domain per se, unless you're following the whole situation. So people be a bit dumbfounded when they suddenly go, oh, look at that, there's no carrots and that. How long do you think until, obviously from Sunday, so this is the point why I wanted to bring this video before our Sunday chat, to make people aware who's not prepared to get your asses in gear and just go and just get a couple of bits for the minute. How soon do you reckon from Sunday we'll see potentially the holes in the supermarket shelves?
What I will say, Anna, is this. Years ago, there used to be a whole week's worth, month's worth of supply in the system. There isn't anymore. That supply isn't there. So this is going to dry up, in my opinion, really quickly. I'd have thought by midweek, you're going to start to see the shelves start to look bare. Now, we both know that supermarkets will do anything to prevent that happening. They're going to be trying to fly stuff into the country. And that's when I can... I can see that perhaps some of the ports could get blocked. I mean, I haven't, this isn't something I know about, but I can see that could happen. Whether that's blocking the ports, the airports, whatever that needs to be. And you can see this escalating really quickly. That's what concerns me. We're in a position that we've been talking about this for 4 years. And you and I have been on this journey together for 6 months now. And we both have an idea of where this is going. But when you see how quick this has escalated because of two things, one, the march was already booked, then the NFU pulled out, dropping all the farmers. That I think is going to be a big ramification for the NFU. I really do think that's going to have big ramifications long term. And then obviously this idiot from the Labour Party saying what he said. Both of those have escalated and brought the community together. Now, that was something that really did need to happen. And because all through the campaign with No Farmers, No Food and everything else, we was in this position where the farmers couldn't just agree on anything. You've got 100,000 different households all trying to agree on some principal ideas. This is going to be a different thing. This is now going to unite them beyond belief. And once they're united, they're, I don't want to say dangerous from the point of, walking around and causing trouble. Dangerous to the point that they then have the ability, the power, and the knowledge of how to stop the food supply while still supplying the public. Because there is going to be plenty of farmers out there, like, where we live, that, we're arable, there isn't anything around this area. Is there an opportunity for small retail outlets to sell more food? Of course there is. And I think if they're sensible and work quite quickly now, like in the last pandemic, there was the ability for those who could adjust very quickly, earned really good money out of the situation. The supermarkets couldn't adjust quickly, so they, so they were on a back foot, and that's what I'd like to see again, Anna.
You did well, didn't you? You did well. You proceeded with your boxes.
We did extremely well. What I want to see is the public support the farmers. Buying British is important. We know that. This is, about Gareth Wyn-Jones, Daniel neck of the woods. He said the other day, build back Britain, better on your belly. And that's right. And that is where we need to get to this. If people understand that they're going to go hungry, and I genuinely mean hungry, not, I went to Tesco's today and they haven't got, some, popcorn or something. Genuinely mean there's no bread, no milk, no veg, nothing. That's what we need to get. And it wouldn't hurt the country to go through that for a few weeks, I have to say, because that might actually make people appreciate British farming.
And understand. Do you think coming back to that video, that idiot from the ex-Labour, do you think there was a final straw? Because I got upset. I'm not even a farmer. Just to hear him say those words, and I appreciate, as a farmer yourself, you got to be hurt to hear that, isn't it? Just
Anna, I mean, I was only a child when the mining situation kicked off, but I remember a friend of mine who was a police officer who was sent from, locally up to that area. And he said it was horrific as the weeks went on and the families were struggling more and more and more, and food started getting short. They used to go out in the morning, the police officers would, and they would get their breakfast off the burger stall, which was provided by the government, and they would take their food and give it to the miners. And you think to yourself now, where the hell are we if that happens again? Because this is a country where we don't have to deal with food shortages. Bear in mind, Anna, that if the farmers do go out on Sunday, they've never, ever, once, ever gone out on strike unanimously.
Yeah.
Now, farmers are going to have to do what they've got to do around the farm. If they've got crops that need to be drilled, it's got to go in the ground. If they've got animals that need feeding, they've got to be fed. They've got to be milked. What has got to happen has got to happen. But it's the non-essential stuff which I can see. And if you've got a field full of cabbages and you think to yourself, well, do you know what? It really doesn't matter if they get picked this week or next.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's where the problem's going to come for the supermarkets, I think. And I've got to be honest, Annie, I'm not a lover of supermarkets. I've got no time for them at all. And I would like to see them pulled to their knees.
Yeah, I'm sure it's going to happen. Just to, obviously, we only meant to be doing this off private screen and then published. We've got 29 people tuning in. It's only meant to be like a few minutes long, just to make people aware of the watch, so that people can prepare for the next couple of days.
Stock up. That's the answer, Anna. Cut through all the BS. Stock up with food and stock up fast.
Yeah. So we're talking about is basically the vegetables, the dairy, and the meat, isn't it? Because really, in a nutshell, this is what really we are supplying. What we're seeing in the supermarkets. That
will run out in a hurry, yes, because once you get onto processed food, they're sitting on flour and everything else they need to sit on. But the immediate things like meat, dairy, and vegetables, I think you're going to see that disappear quite quickly.
Yes, a few days. And obviously the worst case scenario, obviously the farmers are talking about potentially blocking the port or entrances to this, not entrances, the delivery points to the supermarket. So not necessarily the ports that are going to be affecting people like ourselves who's going to Dover on Friday, but other places that technically it's not necessarily just the food that is in the lorry, isn't it? So there would be anything that could be coming in and that could be potentially in a short supply in, say, a week's time, whatever they decide.
I mean, Anna, you've also got to understand that, would I encourage people to panic buy? No. And, and I think what you and I have been speaking about for the last 6 months, especially since we joined forces and doing a few things together, is the fact that we've been trying to prevent that from happening. Telling people to stock up in advance so you're not there come the day. But unfortunately, as we saw in the pandemic, toilet rolls ran out within days for one reason. People started to think they weren't going to get any. And that could be the same with the food, and that's what will cause the issue.
Yeah, that's what I think, because somebody on my channel commented, so people don't forget that farmers stopping, if you stock up, do remember farmers don't produce toilet paper, which is absolutely right. But people still be people, and the people unprepared, people will think that the same scenario going to happen with what happened with the COVID, and people will, potentially go and swoop the bleeding toilet roll if they haven't got already, since the COVID times, isn't it? So, but the advice is, the whole point I wanted to bring the video on and get you on there is to let people know is that obviously from Sunday there is very high possibilities of a lot of the farmers denying
100% there is a potential food shortages starting this weekend. Yes. I can't emphasize enough, don't get caught in all the nonsense. Get out and stock up now while you've got a couple of 3 days advance notice. Don't leave yourself in that position, and don't leave your family in that position. For me, dad, granddad, I worry more about the kids, and the grandkids than I do about myself, because I know we're covered. But I do worry about the rest of them. Yeah,
that's good. But this is the point I really wanted to bring out. So I just need to get some extra carrots, I think. That's all really I need for the week for the roast dinner. But generally, I think I'm all sorted anyway. So anyway, Michael, thank you so much. As I said, I don't want to take up too much of your time. We are literally midweek, aren't we? Pretty much.
We are.
So thank you for joining. Thank you for answering the questions and supporting my idea of telling people to go and just get prepared. That's all we want people to do.
Absolutely.
And that we'll speak to you on Sunday at 7 p.m.
Look forward to it, Anna. Bye-bye, darling.
Thank you for watching, everybody. All right. Bye-bye. Bye.